So, and finally, I love these transformation masks that start out closed and you pull a string and they open up. And in this one, I picked this one because you're the bird on the outside and the person on the inside. And it can be one animal with another animal inside. It can be a person with another person inside, an animal with a person inside, a person with an animal inside. So it's all to show the nested selves. And the Northwest Coast people felt that they were descended directly from an animal. So this is where totems and totem poles, but we don't use that term anymore. Memorial poles. Memorial poles. Or ancestral poles, history poles. I mean, just because they perform a lot of different functions.
Can you make that crossover to Lake?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the bird, the hummingbird, and the faces inside, the people coming out of the snakes. Just all the different ways there are to show that humans and animals are one with one another, but they have changing appearances. So this would be Raven on the outside, and just a human on the inside. You should read lots of Raven stories, if you know, and read them to the kids. The best one is where Raven steals light. Do we have 2 minutes for me to tell that story? It's a funny story. They're cute. So Raven is a trickster. Raven is the coyote of Northwest Coast, and the world was dark. The whole world was in existence, but it was dark. So everyone would bump into things, and everybody was annoyed. And the Raven couldn't fly because he would run into trees. So he was pissed off. And this old man who lived with his daughter, he didn't know if his daughter was pretty or not because he couldn't see her. And this made him sad. But he was hoarding all the light. He had somehow gotten all the light in the universe and put it in a series of nested boxes. They have a lot of wooden boxes in Northwest Coast with stuff in them. He was selfish, and that's a bad thing, of course, in communal living. And he had the light in his boxes. So Raven was flying by and running into trees when he heard the old man mutter about the light in the box. And he's like, I need to get that. I need to get that. So he changed himself into a pine needle, and he fell into the beautiful daughter's, well, the daughter, we don't know that she's beautiful, the daughter's cup, and she drank him. And like Coatlicue, the mother of Huitzilopochtli, she got pregnant. And she gave birth to a little boy, and he had surprisingly bright, beady black eyes and a few feathers. But they couldn't see him, so they didn't realize that it was Raven. And he grew up to be a little boy who was spoiled by his grandfather, and he kept having tantrums. He wanted to play with the box full of light. And they would say, no, you can't. And then first the grandfather, he got sick of the tantrums, so he let him play with the outer box. And then the next box in and the next box in. And finally, he got into the box of light, and all the light in the world poured out, and Raven instantly changed back into a bird and captured all the light in the world. You see images of Raven with a red ball in its mouth. He's got the sun, he's got all the light in the world in his mouth. And he flies out of the smoke hole, but he has so much light in his mouth, and it's leaking out, and his nemesis, Eagle, can see him now and is about to come and get him. So he drops part of the light of the world on the ground, and it breaks into little pieces, and it becomes like the stars and things like that. He's still got the sun in his mouth, and he finally has to fly up and let it go into the sky and be the sun. And then the old man gets to see his daughter for the first time, and he says, you know, she is pretty, so he's happy because she'll get married. So that's Raven getting all the light. And there are hundreds of Raven stories, so you can find really good stuff for tricksters. There's all sorts of dances that these are danced at in the winter, in the ceremonies and stuff like that. So the Northwest Coast, where it's very rich, salmon, you know, people have a lot to eat up there, living in these kinds of houses with the memorial poles. There are other types of masks that are solid. There's one with a coyote or a wolf on the outside and a raven on the inside.